Welcome to Game Set Matchup, the podcast where we talk everything partnerships, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hello, everyone. On this week's podcast, we spoke to Tori Barlow, who is from a PRM company called Allbound. So this company is actually based in the USA, in the Colorado state, in fact. So Allbound is a PRM tool, but you may be asking, what is PRM? And if, like me, you're not too sure, or you don't actually know what it stands for, then listen on to find out. So she goes into some good detail, and we get a much better understanding of how a PRM tool, if applicable to you or your business, can really help to become sort of like super efficient. We also touch on some top tips, as we usually do, around what she thinks helps to encourage high performing teams, and also at the end we get to hear who would be her preferred partner to work with. So stay tuned to the end and to hear who it was. Anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode. Okay, welcome to Game Set Matchups. This is the podcast where we discuss all things partnerships. I'm your host, as always, Carl Busby, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Ellie Gavin.
Hello.
So today, please welcome our guest. Her name is Tori Barlow. She's the VP of Marketing at a company called Allbound. Hello and welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you both, Carl and Ellie, for having me.
You are welcome. You're welcome. So cool. So as we sort of usually start off, just do a bit of introduction, really, just to sort of so we're going to give it a bit about who you are, maybe a bit about your background, how you got into the role you're kind of in now, and then just you can tell us what Allbound is all about.
Yeah, no, thanks again. So I'm Tori. I lead up marketing here at Allbound, and really, responsible for any sort of demand gen activities, but more importantly, just connecting with folks like you in the industry. And I've been here for about 4 years, and I'll tell you, I never knew as much about partnerships than I do now, just from folks like Dylan at Finder and other folks in the space who are just so willing to share and really be a friend out there. So it's been a true pleasure. And a little bit about Allbound is we're, a partner portal for anyone who has a partner program to manage, the entire life cycle from onboarding all the way to deal reg.
Wow. Okay. I was just going to say, just for me as well, learning, I tried to do a little bit of research, just looking into, PRM and what it's kind of about, but just for like listeners, just to understand. So, PRM obviously stands for like partnership relationship management. Is that
That's right. Yeah. Partner relationship management.
I got that bit right. And then obviously, so you're, obviously all about the software and stuff that obviously you provide. Just an example of like how a business would potentially use the tool.
Yeah, I think right now the important thing to think about is where we are within the industry and also the market conditions going on now. It's if you're a partner leader, the most important thing you can do right now is prove bottom line revenue for any indirect sales. And I think another way to think about PRM, if you interchange one of the letters to say partner revenue management, might be a better way to think about this. But all the way from managing whether you have 5 partners to thousands of partners, anytime a partner comes on as a new partner, they need to go through an onboarding process. And sometimes that's really manual. So our platform helps folks automate that through training, quizzes, certifications, whatever it may be. And then additionally, we've seen the most successful partnerships happen when partner and vendor are co-marketing, co-selling together. So having the partner be able to log into the portal, grab content, reshare, repost, whatever that may be, in turn leads to more deal reg, which, by the way, you can do through our portal as well. And then therefore the vendor is able to see which partners are most successful based on leading and lagging indicators. So it's a data platform as well as a revenue platform, all for your partner program.
Nice. Okay, yeah. I think the thing I'm getting at as well is just its efficiency is
Yes.
what it sort of bringing together, which makes
That's a nice way to do my long-winded answer. So yes, thank you.
No, it was a perfect answer. I just thought, in terms of it just makes it everything much more efficient, and therefore obviously it's saving money and stuff.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so I've got just a question for you, if you don't mind. During the recent times, obviously we've had COVID and lockdown and the world has just changed. Have you found your approach to creating partnerships change? And also, what does a Gold Star partnership look like for you and Marketa as a business?
Yeah, I think primarily what we've seen, I'll answer this in two ways. One is what we're doing and seeing from the partnership side. I think there was this old adage of partner programs can happen to anyone and be successful. And all you needed to do was send a contract to a partner, have them sign, you sign, and then all of a sudden you're seeing a million deals. And I think that's an antiquated view of looking at partnerships. And what we've seen work really well is that winning begets winning. And so if you win, your partner wins and vice versa. And what does that take to win? It really takes that A, trust, and B, constant evolution of working with the partner, creating content together, and consistently selling together. I think it's a lot of work for a partner manager to keep all of this in mind. And you might be asking yourself, if you have several hundred partners, how do you do that if you're just a one-man band or have a couple people on your team? It's really hard. So figuring out who those priority partners are is really important. And you can do that through data and looking at, who is engaging most with your brand. But I think the thing to think about here in the Gold Star partnership and what we see with our customers too is you have to put in the effort and it has to be a constant evolution.
Definitely.
100%. No, I was just going to say, so that makes a lot of sense. So I mean, obviously, finding this is obviously what we're all about. Obviously, trying to help obviously people find partnerships. So we do, we like to ask this question to obviously all businesses really, so it gives us a chance of trying to obviously help them to find the right partners, because obviously that's obviously after what we're trying to do. So yeah, just sticking on the subject of partnerships. So obviously gone through described that there. What would you say is obviously the definition of the partnership in terms of how you go about actually creating them at the moment? So obviously, just for listeners that don't know, you're obviously based in obviously the US. I forgot which state you were.
Colorado.
No, there we go. I was going to guess, but I thought I'm not going to do that. So what sort of things, how do you go about creating them? I mean, obviously Finder, over here, this is one of the tools obviously that we've sort of created. We're trying to help obviously people, businesses, to sort of connect and get together. So how for Allbound, how are you sort of going about that at the moment?
Yeah, I think what we keep in mind in the forefront is, co-selling or marketing a deal together closes faster and probably, at a higher close rate than if you were to sell direct. And I think I can relate to a lot of the channel leaders out there in this sense, where sometimes partner programs are bubbled up into the sales org or the marketing org until you can build out a true partner team. And so right now I'm kind of, leading that initiative along with our VP of CX, Jen Lee. And we also have other things we need to do for marketing and CX. So partnerships is coming as a very important piece. But to your point, how do we really prioritize that and find a good business partner? And the way we're going about that now is by asking ourselves, could this be a true valued partnership? Are we going together with the same message, the same story? And do we have like-minded customers that will be fairly symbiotic throughout this relationship? And so one partnership that stands out to me right now is one that is, putting in the effort from both sides. So as an example, we have a biweekly meeting, and this POC and I meet regularly on what's needed from both ends and how we're going to, tee up some deals. And we're really going at it with a co-selling mentality. And I was scared at first to do that because you're giving up some information that's pretty sensitive, internally about prospects that they might, or customers that they might view as prospects, and kind of sharing this information. But it's all about trust, I've realized. And I think that's what really makes a better, business partnership is like just kind of being vulnerable and showing your colors. And then I think you'll see some wins after that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's spot on. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just about to say, you do have to trust is just, it's just one of the key things in any sort of partnership that you bring together. Because like you said, you are obviously there's a lot of transfer of information and stuff, but it's all about having that sort of relationship and trust definitely a big part of it.
Yeah. And I think too, like, it's so different than direct selling, because direct selling, I think we all still have that mentality of like, all right, did they submit a lead, or did we meet them at an event? And like, then let's close the deal. Is this one sales rep doing this? And partnerships, the world in which we live in right now, and like how the industry is evolving is so much more, there's so much more human element involved, and it's so much more exciting that way. And I think that's like when you can really differentiate a good partnership to an amazing partnership, is that like total human element there.
Yeah. 100%. Couldn't agree more. I mean, obviously what we're doing this over Zoom now, as you do, but like I said, you can't be obviously talking to someone in a room and just having a proper conversation. Yeah, it's great.
Have you got any advice that you would give your younger self? The do's and the don'ts, maybe?
Yeah, I would say just in terms of my, time here at Allbound is we, should have started sooner with partnerships. I think we hear all the time that partnerships take time, and that is so true and underestimated, that if you're tasked from your, CEO or your C-suite to create a forecast for when you're going to see opportunities and pipeline and close one from, a partnership program, you really have to voice that it just takes time to nurture. The way that I've seen really successful partner programs structure their forecasting is they don't even forecast for several months. They just work the relationships, build that trust, like you're saying, Carl, and like really get on a really good snowball into what will eventually lead to revenue. So I think that's something that I would have wanted a couple of years ago, is A, to get started earlier, and B, to just understand the reality of how to really look at the value of partnerships.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, it's like I can probably a lot of businesses that maybe, along the same lines, not really thought about or not had, that sort of introduction to how sort of partnerships can work. But as I said, I think, when they're done correctly and done the right way, they can just be absolutely amazing for both parties, of course. Because otherwise it's not a partnership, of course. So that's great. So just thought, well, again, just another little question. So with your obviously just experience of what kind of stuff you discussed, what would you say? Do you have any like sort of top tips you would say, like when it comes to, well, I would like sort of creating like high performing teams, or like winning cultures, like within the company? Yeah,
I would say one piece and characteristic that I'm always a fan of is curiosity. So stay curious. And I get this, I think, from Alice in Wonderland. Like, she was always so curious and just wanted to figure stuff out. Yeah. That's one piece I've seen really high functioning teams have, is just like, what's next? How do you do the next thing? And like, if you stay with the status quo and just stay as you're doing, what are you really accomplishing? So that's one thing. And I think the other piece is something that Jared Fuller at Partner Hacker, I saw him post this a couple of weeks ago, and it really resonated with me. Was in the market conditions we're in now, there's so many layoffs going on. Everyone's affected in one way or the other, that like, you can take this mentality of like, oh, am I next? Or am I going to be on the chopping block? Like, I'm so scared. Or you can take the mentality of like, just work harder, like just be a little bit smarter in how you work and make yourself invaluable. I think that's the other piece I'm hoping to coach my team on is how do you make yourself invaluable? Like I know as a marketer, I'm so replaceable. There's so many marketers out there, but like, how do I make myself, irreplaceable. And I think that comes with the curiosity, the work harder, from what Jared was saying, and just that constant like go-getter mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's great advice.
No, amazing advice. I think being curious, I 100% totally agree with that. I mean, I think I'd also even just attach onto like, just being passionately curious, just wanting to, find out things. You never know, like I said, where it can take you down, that path. And like I said, you just don't know what sort of can come from it, and new things. So like I said, yeah, definitely. That's a great tip, I think.
And do you think that the future holds anything different for creating partnerships in the world now? And do you think that you and Marquetta will be doing anything differently, or are you happy with your current partnership needs and what you do to go and create them?
Yeah, I think we're kind of learning that as we go, and I think it's ever changing. Like, I feel like if partnerships were a science, everyone would kind of have them figured out. But I think they're an art and a science to an extent. And so I think we're figuring out that the good partnerships come from that trust and that, back and forth, give and take. Really, it's more of like a give, because I think everyone in partnerships just wants to give first, and then the benefits will come. So I'll say give. But I think, in terms of trying to do it differently, like, since we've really launched this partner program, we've seen folks that want to partner with us. But I think instead of saying yes to every partner, we need to really understand who is a good fit. And now we have a model that is sort of taking off. So really replicating that for the future. And that'll change, like that'll tweak over time. But I think that's something that I've heard in the industry too, is being more choosy with partners, and you'll reap the benefits from that in the end.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think obviously again, that's like, this right here, obviously at Finder, obviously we're all about helping people obviously match and stuff. But, one of the things we obviously try to do is like, get members to just be really, clear what the business requirements are and like what they're sort of looking for. So we can, not obviously waste people's time, and you can just, you're talking to the right, the right people and we need to. So like I said, yeah, no, 100% agree with that. Cool. Yeah, I think I'll do just one. Do one last question. We just like to do just a bit of fun. So yeah, like, I mean, obviously you said business is obviously quite sort of new to partnership. So it'd be interesting to see your answers. But if you could, if you can partner, think about your Gold Star partnership, or think about how obviously Allbound works. If you could partner with any business, a company, or person, I mean, literally could be anything, just a bit of fun. Who would you want to partner with, and why?
Oh my God, this is the hardest question out of all of them, I think, because there's so many good options.
Yeah.
I would say two come to mind. One is I know I've chatted with Dylan on your team, and you guys are just so lovely. You're doing such amazing things for the space. I think you guys would be, a dream partner for how you're looking at the future of partnerships. And I think everyone should know who Finder is. You guys would be one. And then, I think the folks over at Reveal are just doing amazing things. And I think they're really making a splash in not only the way partnerships could really go, but like they also, walk their talk. Like, they are so friendly. They are so willing to have a conversation, and they truly want to do good for this industry. The two people that come to mind over there are Joe Wright and Dan Lanciani. And so I think there's just so many good options, but those are the two that come to mind first.
Okay, that's amazing. I'll let you have the two. That's fine.
You're like, I'm part of the two, so that's fine.
You have to. And especially, obviously, being the first one. We didn't paid anyone to or any gifts for you to say there's something. Obviously, we really appreciate you obviously saying that. And yeah, I mean, we are obviously, that's exactly what we're here doing. Just like revolutionising this space, really, because I said, there's just there's nothing out there sort of like Finder. Like I said, we want to just help people create partnerships. Listen, it's been absolutely amazing to talk to you. I said really appreciate you taking the time to obviously come and speak to us. And like I said, all the best for Allbound. And I said, I'm sure we'll be working together in the future.
Yeah, this is so exciting. Thanks so much for having me. I'm pumped.
Thank you so much for attending the podcast. And it was lovely to actually get to meet someone else from the team.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for joining this week's Game Set Matchup. Tune in to hear more about the need to knows and the do's and don'ts when it comes to creating successful business partnerships.